I'm with Happy Camper with Dividends. We're exposing her today. And Corie, how did you start YouTube?
Well, originally, so I was just in a Retire on Dividends Discord, and I was doing lots of spreadsheets, and I would share them and stuff, and then I got the idea of, well, let me do a video to explain how this spreadsheet works, so those within the Discord, if they want to use it, they know how it worked, right? And it was just a lot easier to do a YouTube video, and honestly, that's what started the channel. It wasn't supposed to be anything other than some spreadsheets and helping people out. And then eventually I started sharing the trades data that I had already been pulling. So
yes, and especially like when it comes to the data, I started watching it and I'm like, wow, this is really, really good stuff. Like, I'm actually surprised that people are actually watching this, because usually when it comes to like the more data side of trading or investing, people kind of zone out. But I was like, wow, this is really good. So how did you get into the numbers prior to that? Like, how did you get so good with this type of material?
What do you mean, as far as spreadsheets or just these trades? Okay. So spreadsheets themselves, so I've liked numbers and stuff my whole life, right? I'd planned to be an accountant. Of course, that never happened. And then in the Army, so when I first became a budget analyst, I work with spreadsheets, right? Government, we work with spreadsheets. And I just, we start learning things, trying to find better ways to do things. And I've even taken expert Excel, Microsoft online tests and all that kind of stuff. And, I just like to learn. I love numbers, I love spreadsheets, and I like to learn. So it's just sort of a combination of all of those things.
Nice. So with your experience, how are you teaching others on YouTube with this?
How am I teaching what?
How are you teaching others with YouTube of this? Like, how are you combining it? Just, how would I say this better? We can cut this out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How are you preparing the beginner trader to learn this type of stuff?
Well, honestly, so when I first started this, I didn't explain a lot what I was doing, because there's Retire on Dividends. Most people, if they're watching me, they watch him. So I took on the assumption that they had already learned stuff from Retire on Dividends. I have those since, I try to do in my videos, try to explain a little bit about the option stuff. Now, it may not be every video, because people are going to want to watch that all the time. But I do try to go through short put, short calls, and where you want things to be, and just I try to go into some of that in some of the videos. However, I do want to do some videos that just explain the entire thing, how it goes through, how we go through everything, and how stuff is done. I just really need to do that separate video, but I try. But I'm more of the data person. So
nice.
I can't remember what Max called it, but basically like data analytics. I think Jay called it. It's sort of like the forensic accounting or something that the banks and the custodians and stuff already do. I'm doing the same thing.
So how was your interview with Jay? Like, first meeting him virtually?
Well, so obviously I've never done one live for the channel. When I had talked with him about interviews and before, I'd send him stuff to set Rod up with an interview, and Max Convexity, and then I also had done Mike the Tactical Stock Scalper, but he didn't want to do an interview, but I got them hooked up, and then of course we had a meeting, but I didn't actually record it, because I figured mine was more the technical type stuff that most people wouldn't know, and on top of that, I even had issues the first time. So that was our first time interacting with the video, because what it was, I was sending him a bunch of emails, and so I'm sure he was tired of all those emails, so he's like, how about we just schedule some time?
Nice.
So then we did, and we scheduled 30 minutes, and I tried to do it on my computer, and then he couldn't hear me, and we just had technical difficulty, so then I went to my iPad, but we talked for about 30, 40 minutes or so, and it was really good. A lot of the things that we've talked about now, other people have interviewed, or I've dropped them on my YouTube channel here and there, but I really did want to do a video follow-up to all the questions. With everything going on, I just really never got around to it.
And also, when it comes to YouTube, like, what are your goals with it? Like, how far do you want to take it?
Well, like I said, originally it was just a spreadsheet thing, and then I started sharing the data that I had, and I really didn't have any goals. And then it was like, okay, I finally made a go, like, let's get 1,000 subscribers, right? I never really asked for subscribers and likes. I figure if people want to do it, they'll do it. They'll find me. It's usually through other people talking about me, right? I don't want to bother people with, all that. So I don't know. I just, I hit my goal of 1,000. I really don't have any other goals. My main thing has just been trying to help people out, help people understand what's happening here with these goals. Also, I say, here's the risk. Make sure you go to the website. I know people hate that every video just about. But it is. I know there's been some accusations that nobody ever tells people about the risk. So I try to at least highlight that up front. But yeah, I totally lost track of where I was going with that.
But I'm going to say was like, how would you, if you meet a new, if you have to meet a new beginner trader, like how would you like help them start? Like, is it your channel or a combination of those?
So if we're just talking about, general trading and not necessarily YieldMax or anything else, yeah, you can do YouTube. I know that in one of the other groups, somebody's actually using Udemy to learn classes. I was like, that's pretty cool. But I think it just takes a lot of research and time. And just know that you're going to mess up. So everybody just starts small. I mean, I started just a year ago, and I made plenty of mistakes since then. And unfortunately, you're going to make mistakes, and that's where you're going to learn the most. So,
we'll say like, what have been like the highlight, your biggest win and your biggest loss?
Oh, on trades?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I'm not totally sure. When it comes to YieldMax, as far as where I've bought and sold and everything, I think I've made more money on Corie than I have any of the other ones. But honestly, since I started YouTube, I don't have a lot of time for my own things, so I don't even know where I stand. So I rarely sell anymore unless something like runs way up, and they're like, okay, let me just sell this, and I'll buy back in when it drops. But yeah, I don't even, because I'm too busy trying to help everybody else that hardly help myself, right?
Yeah, I'll say even for me, like I try to make one video a day, but then it takes so much time out of your day. I don't understand how other channels can do 2 to 3 videos a day. Like,
well, that's because we don't edit. Most of our stuff, especially mine, going over the trades, I mean, they're good for a day, maybe 2, and then that's pretty much it. So there's no reason for us to go through and edit and, do all that stuff. It's unfortunate. I know some people wish we put bookmarks or whatever they're called. It's just too time consuming. And with me, with everything else I have going on, you're lucky to get the videos. But yeah, I think it's a lot easier not having that pressure to edit, and people know that, we're doing the best that we can to help everybody out and provide the data for them.
So I want to say, anything else you want to tell the audience?
I want to be honest with you. I didn't really March.
Well, I know some advice that I would give the audience, and that is don't go all in up front, especially if you're new to investing or you're new to YieldMax, regardless of what you're doing, because last year, like I said, last year is when I started. We're built in the middle of building a house, or we want to build a house, and so I started doing budget stuff, which then led me to retirement stuff, which then led me to investment. So then I thought, I have all these years, I've just had all this cash and savings, and I decided I wanted to try to make that money work for me. So I started investing, trying to find dividend stocks. This was prior to me finding YieldMax, and even then I was like, okay, I'm going to take $500 and I'm just going to dump them in all these tickers. Yep, that's what I did. And then later I regretted it, because, that was somewhere probably around July time frame. And then we started going down from there to November. And I've never done this, so that was my, first time going through something like that. And it's scary when you've never done it before.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then it's like, even to this day, I still have some of those that I had purchased last year, and I still haven't got my money back on them.
Wow.
Some of them I've sold for a loss. It's some things like JEPQ. I had ARR. I had BITO before, the halving, and I ended up selling out, of course, right before that happened. DEA I had. But yeah, I don't know. And then it reminds me, you were saying my best and worst trades, and I said probably Corie is my best, but my worst, I'm going to have to say Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla was I'll say, out of the bunch, Tesla's been the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get in the right positions, I'll
Yeah.
say you can manage it with the dividend income, but
Right.
most people are pretty much spaced out. Like,
Yeah. Well, and at the beginning, people were just throwing money in it, and you know, I didn't like you know, when it came to that scared me even more. So I did start out slow, and I was still actually good because this was around August when I first started into Tesla. And so the problem came though is that delusion of Tesla's going to go up someday. And yeah, it went all the way down, you know, went way down, and now it is a little up, but not much. And since then, you know, Tesla is just whatever. So I still have my shares because, you know, I know there's opportunity costs and everything else, but I just really hate to sell at a loss. I hate to be a loser like Tesla. But yeah, I was actually in a positive in December, but then I thought, you know, well, maybe Tesla's going to start doing better. And that was my stupidness of thinking it was going to keep going up.
That double top, and then it started. Oh my god!
Yeah.
It was an interesting time for YieldMax, and especially there's so much praise into Tesla, so much like love about it. And now it's like the black sheep now.
Well, and that's the problem when it comes to YieldMax. Everybody says YieldMax is bad based on Tesla.
Yeah, just
you know, they forget about the other 20 products that are out there, or 20 or so ETFs.
Yeah.
And so it's not just because one or two may be somewhat bad apples, and bad apples now,
Yeah.
you know, doesn't mean these other ones, especially when we're talking about crypto stuff, Coney and Misty and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, later those might be the new Teslas. Don't get mad at me for saying it, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. So you just got to plan accordingly.
But yeah, I mean, anything else? Or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you guys for making it to the full interview, and we'll see you. Peace.
Thank you.